Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Young and the Restless saw a couple of Sharon Newman's enemies return in the last few years. And so, we're wondering if Y&R might bring back more of the demons from Sharon's past, dead or alive, to torment her. And given that head writer Josh Griffith seems intent on terrorizing Sharon to death with villains from her past, we're going to talk about who else might come back. So first, with Matt Clark back, many fans are clamoring for the return of his semi-unwilling partner in crime, Trisha Dennison. Now, if you weren't watching back then, let's be real, Matt's a creep. He's a rapist who terrorized and assaulted Sharon, and he framed Nick Newman to go to prison. It was Trisha who helped Matt frame Nick on a drug charge. But Matt and Trisha weren't in love or anything. You know, they weren't coupled up. In fact, Matt drugged and raped Trisha and drove her pretty much insane. And at one point, to her credit, she actually stopped Matt from assaulting and raping Sharon again. And then Trisha got Matt into her car and drove off a cliff, Thelma and Louise style. Luckily, Trisha survived, but Matt sustained these awful injuries, and he was presumed dead. That was when he had pulled his breathing tube out to try and frame Nick for his death. After that happened, Trisha did a whole lot more bad stuff. Matt's ghost was basically a delusion in her brain, telling her wicked things to do. Kind of like how Cameron Kirsten was that hallucination telling Sharon things to do. And Ian Ward's turned up talking to Mariah Copeland recently. Also, Trisha drugged Victor Newman and raped him and then beat herself so that she was all bruised and battered and could go to the police. Trisha accused Victor of raping her, and he went to prison because of Trisha. She later crashed Victoria Newman's wedding wearing an identical gown to the bride and held the groom at gunpoint after locking Victoria in a closet. When she got loose, Trisha tried to shoot the bride, but wound up killing the groom, and she was sent to a psychiatric hospital. Young and the Restless could have pulled off an epic double twist. They could have brought in Tamara Braun to play Trisha. But based on Sienna's private conversations with her husband Mitch, aka Matt, that's not what they did. Not unless Trisha had plastic surgery and is lying to Matt and running a long con on him. If Tamara was recast Trisha, she wouldn't be grilling Mitch, asking him if he's really Matt Clark. But they still could bring her back, you know. Have Trisha on the loose and stalking Matt for revenge at the same time he's stalking Sharon and Nick and Noah Newman Lucas Adams for revenge. That would be clever and soapy and fun, but Josh Griffith is not a particularly creative thinker, as we all know. So, another creep from Sharon's past is less horrible than Matt or Cameron, but could be a worthy adversary, depending on how they wrote his return. So, this guy, Frank Barrett Fildozois, pressured Sharon into sex in high school and got her pregnant with twins Mariah and Cassie Newman, also Cameron Grimes. And Frank was horrified when Sharon told him she was pregnant, and he's like, "Nope, I'm out." He wanted no part of it. You probably remember somebody had stolen Mariah to give to Ian Ward Ray Wise, and he raised her, and Sharon never knew about Mariah. And then the other twin Cassie went up for adoption, but Sharon later got her back and raised her. So yeah, Frank was a jerk and a deadbeat dad, but not evil. At least not yet. But fast forward 20 years, and he came back to blackmail Sharon and Frank, also trying to get closer to Cassie. After years of being a deadbeat, he was showing some interest in his daughter. So Frank was extorting Sharon for money. And at that point, Cassie didn't know anything about her bio dad. And then Sharon begged Frank to leave her alone and just go away. But he didn't. And he did get a payoff. But then he wanted more, and he stalked, and he menaced Sharon, trying to get what he wanted, and she was distraught. And he kept pressuring her, and this was all affecting Nick and Sharon's marriage, what had been kind of shaky and on the rocks at that point. But you know what? Frank was killed by Sharon's other psycho stalker Cameron, who then framed Sharon for his murder. There was a whole thing where they thought Frank's body was really Cameron for a while, and it turned out later they figured out it was Frank. So Sharon was arrested, and it was a total nightmare, and later Cameron was killed. But then he returned, after all those years, which was just like 2 years ago, and then Sharon stabbed him to death, hopefully killing Cameron once and for all. So yeah, Young and the Restless would definitely bring back another of her dead exes. Frank could turn up alive just like Matt and Cameron to terrify and torment Sharon. I mean, if Josh Griffith is just recycling old enemies, I guess, keep them coming. We could have had Frank back after years with a bigger grudge. And maybe he shows up and decides to kill Sharon because he can't kill Cameron in revenge since she did that. And I'm sure Frank would blame Sharon for Cameron killing him. Of course, soap deaths are easily undone. So Frank's could be undone. All right. Another past tormentor who is alive and could return at any time, of course, is Ian Ward. Everybody thinks Victor shot him to death, but the former cult leader survived. Last we saw, he was in the ambulance, clearly alive, getting ready to make a break for it. So they brought back Ray Wise very recently, but he was just a hallucination that Mariah was having at the psych hospital. But the writers left Ian alive for a reason, and that may be to come back and do bad things to Sharon again. But there is one last enemy I want to talk about from the past. It's a woman who's supposedly dead and may want revenge on Sharon for killing her. I'm talking about Sky Newman Laura Stone. Now, we all know Young and the Restless likes to bring people back from the dead, but this death was dramatic and insane. If you don't remember this chick, or why she may want payback on Sharon, let me give you a quick reminder. Sky was a friend of Adam Newman's back in the Michael Money days, and Sky and Adam went to Harvard together, and Sky was there for Adam when he faked his death to avoid criminal charges and ran off to Brazil, and they were hanging out down there. But then he was hauled back to Genoa City to face trial, and Sky followed him, and she footed the bill for Adam to get a top criminal lawyer in exchange for a business proposition. Basically, Sky wanted the Newman name, so he married her. But Adam and Sky had issues, and she slept with Jack Abbott Peter Bergman to make Adam jealous, and then later Sky conspired with Victor, and they faked her death to frame Adam for it. Now, back then, at the time, Sharon had fallen in love with Adam and wanted to exonerate him, and Sharon went looking for Sky to prove she was alive and that Adam didn't kill her. So, Sharon found her in Hawaii, and she confronted Sky, and they argued, as one does, at the edge of a volcano. Sharon tried to pull Sky back up when she had fallen like right over the edge. But Sharon wasn't strong enough, and Sky Laura Stone fell to a fiery volcanic doom. Adam was cleared of killing Sky, but then Sharon was charged with it. But they later decided that Sky's death was accidental. That was 15 years ago in 2010. So yeah, it's a long shot to explain how Adam's ex-wife could survive a lava death. But I mean, come on. They've brought people back from the really dead before. Once Matt Clark is dealt with, I do wonder if they're going to bring back one of these other villains for Sharon to vanquish once and for all. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.